our visitor follow-up protocols. We have new software which has been helping us a ton with our attendance that actually came with a number of tools that will be very useful in this category. And Audrey is working really hard to get us to a point where if someone comes in and visits our church on Sunday, chooses to give us their information, they will receive regular contact moving forward for the next however many 3-6 months, letting them know about events that are going on, letting them know how they could come back and join us again. We also already have talks about using that in VBS to help keep our kids plugged in. When our new kids come for VBS, keeping them plugged in all the way till our kickoff in the fall so that they will know when and how that is taking place. The rotating photos, we already said that one's coming. Beginning to use Slack as an online prayer wall. All right, show of hands, how many people have Slack on their phone already? I was going to say, if you're in a small group, you should at this point, because all of our small group leaders were supposed to get you signed up at your last small group. If not, Slack is a communications tool that we have started using. We've been using it with the leadership for about 2 years now. We started using it with the small group leaders about a year ago, and then just about 2 months ago, we started rolling it out where they were going to be getting everyone in their small group signed up. In the near future, we are going to do a mass launch of Slack. It is a communications tool that allows us to communicate with large groups of people very quickly. With that in place, it will be a place where we can make announcements about things that are going on at the church. If for any reason we ever did need to close, which we don't close, but if we ever did, that would be the place where we could put it out and let everybody know as quickly as possible. One of the other things we're going to be using that for is an online, what we're thinking of as a prayer wall. The idea would be that if you were part of a small group, you would tell your small group leader, hey, this is something I would like prayer for, and I would like the whole church to be praying for that. And then what they would do is they would take your prayer request and they would send it out to the small group leaders, which is a single group. And then that small group leaders group would then forward that. Each one of our 5 small group leaders would send it to their small groups. So with 2 text messages, we can tell everyone in our church who is part of a small group what is going on. As opposed to having to call or text each individual, we can do it all with 2 messages. That will be really helpful. It will also give us a place where we can start sharing those prayer requests on a broad scope if we need to very quickly. We want to begin using the expanded features of attendance now. See visitor follow-up protocols as a major part of that one. Worldview and apologetic training. That is something that we are planning in 2025. We're going to do a class or a course talking through having proper worldview and seeing our world for what it is, as well as apologetic training, which is not training in how to tell people you're sorry, but rather training in how to defend your faith, to think well on what we believe and be able to explain it to somebody else. We are going to be participating in a marriage seminar this year, and there is more information on that coming very quickly because it's only a few months away. It will be up in Buffalo this year, so we're going to be participating with that. And then we want to help kids programs to have purposeful, graduated segues to create lifelong disciples. And we already started that. Jen was gracious enough to come to our leadership retreat this year and spend the weekend discussing this with us, and we were really able to set some really great direction for our kids programs together with her. Outward, looking out to the community. Reimagine VBS and shoot for the moon. More on that in a minute. Significant involvement in 2 community-sponsored events because we only did 1 last year. This year we're looking to do 2. Each small group doing 1 random act of kindness per year. The small group leaders already know about that. They may or may not have already discussed it with you, but we're going to be looking for ways to reach out as part of our small groups and interact doing random act of kindness for our communities. The idea there is West Middlebury doesn't really have much of a community right here around the church. We are a very small little town. But each of you live in areas where there are people around you. So if all of our small groups are plugging into their communities, that will give us a broader reach than just doing one kind of thing here. Welcome to Community Gift Baskets. Already talked about that one. 2 specialty Sunday services designed to intentionally invite people to visit West Middlebury. You'll see that in just a second, that we already have those on the calendar. Quarterly Friend Day. This is a day that is not on a Sunday, not a regularly scheduled service, where you could invite your friends to come participate with us. We are going to do one per quarter this year. So those are laid out already. We actually ended up putting more than 4 on the calendar, but you'll see those in just a second. And then Welcome and Connect Video Online. This is something that Scott and I are going to work on together so that we have an intro video on our Facebook page. He's not there. That's Grady. Hi, Grady. Scott's back there. I keep pointing to Scott. I've been pointing to Grady the whole time. All right. We are going to be putting together this Welcome and Connect video, basically just giving the basics, who we are as a church, what we've got going on, maybe a walkthrough of the church. We're not sure. And then we can use that as a front page, a landing page for our website, a landing page on Facebook, other sources like that to give people information about our church. So those are the major goals in 2025. How are we going to do that? How are we going to pull these things off? Well, one, I mentioned Jen came to our leadership retreat, and we were able to put together a new kids ministry purpose statement. Specifically, faith, family, fun. And we have, if you sit down with our leadership, they can give you a lot more than what I can give you in the next 10 minutes. But each one of those we have a structure for, talking about why that word is there, why that word is a focus, and then how we're going to accomplish it. But the long and the short of it is we want to be able to have trajectories for our kids from the time they enter our church to the time that they leave for college, where they will have a strengthened faith, where they will feel like they are part of our family, and they have a bunch of fun while they're doing it. So that's what we're looking at there. True North Adventure Week. This I'm really excited about. We are doing VBS again this year. We are going to pull out all the stops again this year, but we are not calling it VBS anymore. We are calling it True North Adventure Week. True North is this year's specific one because we are doing Alaskan Adventure up in the True North. I am so excited. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. We will need volunteers like crazy. We will be putting together, there will be at least 2 work days that we're going to be asking for people to participate. Some of you have already been approached and asked if you would be willing to help with that. If you have not been approached yet, plan on being approached at some point. We are really moving on this, and over the next couple months, you're going to hear more and more about that as we approach the date. We will need people to come to the work days to put together massive, like we're going to Christmas trees. If you haven't heard that announcement the last few weeks, if you have not put your Christmas tree away yet, we need that. We're going to decorate this place like Alaska. There is talk of maybe a Jeep out front bouldering. There's all kinds of fun plans in place. We will need people for decorations. We will need people to go to all the different businesses that have bulletin boards in Batavia and take a stack of flyers and just go hang them up all over the place. We have all kinds of plans. If you want to help, we need you. If you don't want to help, we still need you, and we'll be coming to your door to ask you to help. All right, True North Adventure Week. Be planning for that. It's going to be awesome. And every time I call it VBS, somebody gets to punch Grady because I need to learn to stop saying VBS and start saying True North Adventure Week. All right, continued push for small groups. We are still pushing small groups because we believe they are vital to our development as believers. So the question I have for you today is, what about you? Are you a part of a small group? If not, why not? We want you to be involved. We think it is the best thing for you as a believer. All right, Complete Spiritual 2025 is coming. Do we know when? This weekend, maybe. If not, by next weekend. We are very, very close to having that finished. Yeah, Grady, do you know when? That is coming very quickly. We will have that out. It will be up for 2 or 3 weeks for you to have a chance to fill that out so we can, again, get a pulse on what the needs are that we can address in 2025. Video game, our first Friend Day is coming up January 25th. It is a video game friend day. We are pulling out old school video games, some kind of almost new school video games, and we are just going to have a ton of fun. Dan is heading that up, and we are so looking forward to that. If you have never played a video game, it's okay. You can come play anyway. We will have fun together, and even if you don't like it, there will be food, just come. It'll be great. And, bring a friend. That's the whole purpose of a friend day, is to invite a friend to come with you. We are going to do prayer meetings. We did 4 last year. We're actually going to up that number this year. We're going to go to 6 because we really want prayer to become a focus in 2025. We want this to be front and center. So here's how that's going to break down. We're going to have 6 different prayer meetings. They are going to happen on the days that we have communion. So if it's a communion Sunday, which means if it's an even-numbered month, the first Sunday is communion, we're going to have a prayer meeting, and they're going to run on 6 different themes. Our first one will be the first weekend in February, and it's going to be on adoration, because we are going to work through 6 prayer meetings. We're going to work through the active model of prayer. Adoration. The second one's going to be about confession. The third one's going to be thanksgiving. The fourth is going to be about intercession. The fifth is going to be about victory. And then I made this last one up. The sixth one is going to be about exciting new year, because that's actually active, spelled all the way out, where we do this again next year to talk about what's coming in 2026. And pester the leadership. So we've already been talking about the first one that's coming up. That will actually be this coming Sunday. And what we're doing is during our second hour, we are going back to pester the pastor for the next 3 to 6 months as we move into 2025. The second half of the year, once I start my Taboo 2 preaching series, we're going to go to discussion groups on Taboo 2, because the whole reason we're having that sermon series is so that we can talk about it more. We're going to allocate some time to talk about it more after the series. And then after that, we're going to round out the year actually going through in our extra hour walking through what we believe and talking about our church constitution and what's in our church constitution and why it's there, and talking about what things we may consider changing down the road. But until then, it'll be pastor to the pastor, except for odd number months, non-communion months. That first Sunday is going to be pester to the leadership, where it won't just be me up here answering your questions, but we will have representatives from all 3 of our teams, our service leaders, our deacons, and our trustees. And you can come and ask them anything you want, and they can tell you that they don't know. So it's not just me. First one is this Sunday. It should be a lot of fun. I told you if you came tonight, you'd be getting a gift. I got 3 minutes left. Audrey's going to give you your gift. This went over great last year, so we have revised it. This is our 2025 calendar, again in the form of a magnet. Everyone who is here can have one. We will also be giving them out on Sunday, but you'll notice it has the dates of our communion services. Communion services are immediately followed by a prayer meeting, and then our special services are marked with an asterisk. And of course, our website if you want more information. We tried to make them look enough different from last year's such that they will stand out on your fridge and you won't look at 2024's dates and then get confused. You should only look at 2025 dates. All right. Through all of this, I want to make it clear. Our purpose as a church has not changed. Hopefully you have seen that through everything we've already said. Our goal is still to reach all people, to teach what Jesus taught, and to grow to be like him together as one body. This is what we are pursuing every single day of 2025. This is what we want to spend some time praying about tonight. So here's what I want to do. I want you to break into smaller groups than what you're currently in. So 4 to 6. Preferably not all of one family. We're going to get into small groups, and for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to give prompts, things to be praying about. They're going to fall into 3 categories: reaching all people, teaching what Jesus taught and growing to be like him together. And we're going to spend about 30 minutes praying through that. Before we do that, any questions? We don't have a lot of time for questions, but if there's any that you're like, I just have to ask this now, I want to give the opportunity to do that. Huh? No, True North Adventure Week. Yeah. Grady's going to start hiding in the corner. Yeah. Correct. We have to figure out what we're doing with Kids Club. We haven't found the answer to that question yet. Without lights is the preference. If they are built in and can be unplugged, do you want them? Or, okay. If they're built in and they like you can unplug them and you don't see the lights, bring them. Yeah, we do not want, sorry, I shouldn't, we do not want live trees. At least not yet. Live trees you can go ahead and get rid of. But if you have fake trees, all right, if you have questions, you can bring them anytime. But also, this Sunday is a pest to the leadership. Leadership put this together back in October. They would be more than happy to answer your questions on Sunday during our second hour. But now let's get into groups. I'll give you like 30 seconds to get into groups, and then we're going to spend some time in prayer. And then at the end, we will basically sing one song and go home to our celebrations of the new year.